Hey everybody, welcome back. Today it's just the Craig and Pete show. We're not having any guests, and I am pushed Craig to go for a new format. So this one's going to take a little bit longer. Stop using your emojis, Craig. You're using the new clap and the thumbs up from Zoom. But we're going in a new format because something that's resonated with me when I'm looking at podcasts is are they getting to the point? Because as much as I love Joe Rogan's stuff, ain't nobody got an hour, 2 hours to listen to a
Yeah, it's
podcast.
2.5 hours, man. I would
Right.
love to have a quick version of that, like an edited version of the Joe
Yet
Rogan
the
podcast.
cliff notes of the podcast.
Yeah, sign me up.
So it's going to be hard for you, Craig, because you like to pontificate and go off on tangential things. But
I'll just be a guest listener on all these 10
and I'll
minute
just
ones.
you'll just be there with your pretty face and your Zoom background, which is not a Zoom background. It's your actual backyard with the wind blowing.
Yeah, it's
But
kite surfing
so
right now.
today we're going to talk about some of the books that have been transformative in our lives. And so we're going to try and cover off on 5 books. And now the new format is going to be when it's just Craig and I. Hopefully I can keep him committed to this. It's 10 minutes. Everybody knows the rules. Okay? Craig,
You got that
ready?
timer? You got that timer?
You ready?
Okay, let's see. I want to see it right on the screen. Where do you get an old school timer like that?
What do you mean? Where you get everything?
Oh,
Amazon.
I love that the sound though too. It reminds me of 60 Minutes. Remember that?
All right, Craig, 10 minutes. Everyone knows the rules.
Wait, when does it start though?
And now,
I'm kidding with you.
sure.
Let's go.
All right, I will start. One of the first books that changed my life, and I read it literally probably 20 years ago if it came out that long, and it was by Chet Holmes. It was called The Ultimate Sales Machine, and it transformed the way I thought about marketing. Obviously, it's an oldie but goodie. It's not about obviously current marketing or sales tactics because obviously we live in a digital age, but it was transformative and it shifts the paradigm about literally how to market and sell. So it's a good book. I would recommend you all picking it up and reading. Greg, what's one that you've got?
So I'm kind of divided right down the middle. I've got, when I say my favorite books, every book you read, I think kind of changes you slightly. It just changes the way you think. And I've actually reread books many times. So my favorite books I reread constantly. But since you brought up a business one, I'm going to bring up a personal development one. I'm going to bring up The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. It was a bestseller. I talk about it frequently. Pete, have you read that one by any chance?
I listened to it on Audible.
Yeah, same. When I say read, by the way, I'm talking about
Yeah.
Audible. You listen to the whole thing?
No, I kind of lost interest, quite honestly.
Okay, got it.
I liked it. I like certain bits of it, but like an Audible book for me is long. Like I don't want to listen to it long. I want the cliff notes. I'm a cliff note kind of guy, and I want to look at the things. And so anyway.
Oh, I just loved it though. I mean, it just kind of reframes this. I guess the fundamental premise is that life is not the absence of problems. Life is in the solving of problems. So if you have problems and you're working towards them, you're progressing through them, you're happy. So that's why retirement sucks, because you'll solve all your problems, and now your problem is only what time is tea time.
And you do talk about that a lot, honestly.
I love it.
I think that is true. I think we are happiest when we are solving problems. It's not the absence, but it's solving and making progress. I think it's progress is the thing, right? And at the end of the day, you can't give a flying whatever.
Yeah, well, it's just not. Yeah, you can't give a fuck. You only have so many fucks to give. So the funny part about this is like now, we're in the midst of quarantine right now, and I created a problem for myself. I have these big projects going at the house, and I bought a 3D puzzle from Amazon, like this thing that like you crank and it takes a little steel ball and it goes through all these little things. It's like a mechanical puzzle, but it's really flipping hard, man. It's really hard, but that's a problem. I created a problem. So, I have a friend who's I might have talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. A buddy of mine is a billionaire, a legit billionaire. There's only 2,000 of those on the planet. Lives in this massive house in the ocean, I don't know, 40,000 square feet. And what does he do about a year ago or a year and a half ago? He takes his family, his wife and his 3 young children, 5, 7, and 10, or 6, whatever, all very young children. And he puts them on a 58-foot boat, which is a large boat, but not a large boat for what he did. And he sails to the South Pacific across the sea, which is absolute freaking insanity, man. So it was days of boredom and moments of sheer terror. And when his wife finally got to, I think, a supermarket in New Caledonia in the South Pacific, and she tasted a fresh fruit for the first time, she cried. I remember her telling me she wept because she hadn't had fresh fruit. So it's like, you know, this guy's got everything, and he orchestrates a massive problem for himself. Like, how do I stay alive and get my family across a massive body of water? And it was freaking crazy. And that's it. So as human beings, we're sitting here in quarantine, many of us, and be like, oh, this sucks. And these problems are what creates the depth of our meaning and the experience. And that's the subtle art of not giving a
I
fuck.
do.
That's
I like that. The progress.
Okay. Sorry. That's too much pontificating.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
You gotta stop me, Pete.
Second book. It's okay. That was a good one. My second book that I think was transformative in my career was Built to Sell by John Warlow. And basically, Greg, it goes over a couple of concepts that basically entrepreneurs, and I think this is just like Built to Sell. So entrepreneurs build businesses that are too heavily dependent on them. Right. And in this book, it talks about having just kind of chaotic systems and trying to do all things to all people. And the entrepreneur, it's just actually a story, basically hates his business. And he says, I want to sell my business because I hate it because it's all over the place and we're not making money. And basically he gets with the consultants that says, hey, why don't you just narrow in, create systems on just logo creation. They had a marketing agency, just logo creation, narrow in, create systems around that, automate it, blah, blah, blah. And then you can sell your business.
Yeah. And then you won't want to.
And that's what happened at the end of the story, right? It became a business that wasn't predicated on him doing all the work, working 20-hour days and whatever. It became one that was on autopilot, that was creating awesome work, stayed in his lane. And at the end of the day, it created a lot of happiness for him in his life.
Yeah, so I love that, Pete. I'm gonna read that one, man.
Dude, you have to. I actually just set Nathan on it as well for building his marketing agency, Attention Driven, because it's really just so great and staying in your lane. And that's what he's decided to do, is really stay very niche. You know, the riches are in the niches, right? And I think a lot of happiness is in the niches. So
yeah, you sell your business because it's a thorn in your side. You sell it to someone who then systematizes it and has you work for them, and then you're happy and they're happy. Or you get it ready to sell, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, I don't want to sell this. It's working well. So it's funny. Right. We sell our problems. We don't sell our solutions.
Right. Go ahead. What's your next one, bud?
I'm going to go back. I'm going to bing bong with you as normal. I'm going to go to Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, which I freaking love, but I listened to the Audible version of it. And Eckhart Tolle has the most monotone and non-dynamic German voice ever. He's like, and the problem is that, and it's like fucking like he'll put you right to sleep. But if you can not listen to it in bed or while you're driving, because if you listen to it while you're driving, you could swerve off the road because it will put you to sleep. It has such beauty. And what I love about it is that the human brain, and, you know, obviously the Tony Robbins psychology and Mark Manson and all that stuff, the human brain has what's called, he refers to as a pain body, that we look for pain and suffering. And I think it's really appropriate at this particular time, because if you want to find pain and suffering, oh shit, man, there's a 24-hour news station or a social media feed that will occupy you with how many people have died in your county, what the virus will do, how it's going to be the end of your business, and blah, blah, blah. So we have a pain body that wants to seek out pain. And once it's activated, once the ego wants pain, it will find it, and you will keep getting pain for yourself. So you have to be consciously aware of, like, oh, that's silly. I am, looking for pain. And I guess the commonality between those two books, The Subtle Art and A New Earth, is that don't be so sure that your brain is taking you down the right path. We tend to go on autopilot and say, my ego wants this, I want to do this. But just be a curious observer to your ego. That's interesting. I wonder why I'm feeling this way. I wonder why I'm upset today. And I think that's a very powerful thing, to not own your ego and don't own your brain.
The fifth book, or the last one that I would recommend, Craig, is a leadership book, and it's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And it is just, for leading organizations and really just taking accountability with your team and showing, Jocko is such a badass, but I would highly, highly recommend this book if you're leading any kind of people in your organization right now. It shows you how to lead and how to win. I was going to say the fifth book was the Bulletproof Dental Practice, Greg, but I figured that would be self-aggrandizing.
Well, it's not self-aggrandizing. So I'm going to do it for you. So, I think it would be, listen, obviously, The book is extremely costly to make. And like I said before, if every dentist on the planet bought 2 copies, we wouldn't even break even on it. But I'm so proud of the work that I've done the math. I get the checks. Every time the Audible distribution check goes into our account, I always,
Did you hear that?
oh, it's so funny.
Enough self-aggrandizing for today. Because 10 minutes, Greg, everybody knows the rules.
I know, but just get the Bulletproof Audible book.
Nope.
We'll get 0.07 cents on each.
Nope. So you gotta stop it. You gotta stop.
All right.
Buddy, that was great. We'll have to do a short one today, short one tomorrow. We'll just keep pumping them out. We're gonna have people.
You don't want to go to 12
10
minutes. You don't want to go to 12.
We're gonna have people learn in
10-minute
increments. Maybe we'll modify it. Maybe it'll be 12 minutes. Everyone knows the rules.
Let's get some comments though.
You know what this is a play on, right? The 10 minutes. Everyone knows the rules.
No.
If you watch Barstool Sports,
no.
I like Barstools, and he eats pizzas, and he says 1 bite, everyone knows the rules. I thought 10 minutes, everyone knows the rules, because I love a 10-minute podcast.
Well, let's get some comments on it. Comment below on the podcast if you like it, if you want more content.
We'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.